The boutique stood on a wide street lined with tall glass buildings and soft glowing lights. Inside, the air felt calm and cool. Soft music played in the background as customers moved slowly between shining shelves filled with expensive clothes. Every item had a perfect shape, perfect color, and a price that made most people hesitate before touching it. Only those with money felt truly comfortable inside. Nia stepped into the boutique holding the strap of her school bag tight against her shoulder. She was 15 years old and had just finished a long day at school. Her mother had asked her to stop by this boutique to pick up a dress that was sent for fixing. Nia did not come from a rich family, but her mother worked hard and had saved money for months to buy that dress for a special event. Nia was calm and polite by nature. She kept her eyes down as she walked toward the front desk. She did not want to draw attention to herself. Her uniform was clean but simple. Her shoes were worn but tidy. She blended into the quiet space like a shadow passing through light. Behind the counter stood the boutique manager named Rosa. She was in her early 40s, always dressed in fine clothes, always wearing heavy makeup, and always keeping a hard look in her eyes. Rosa believed she understood people the moment she looked at them. In her mind, rich people deserved respect and poor people deserved watchful eyes. The moment Rosa saw Nia walk in, her face changed. Her smile faded into a tight line. Her eyes followed Nia with suspicion. She leaned slightly forward, pretending to adjust something on the counter while watching every step Nia took. Nia reached the counter and spoke in a quiet, respectful voice. She said she had come to collect a fixed dress under her mother's name. Rosa looked at her up and down slowly, from her shoes to her hair. The look made Nia feel small and nervous. Rosa asked sharply for the receipt. Nia quickly opened her bag and handed it over. Rosa scanned the paper with narrow eyes. For a moment, there was silence between them, broken only by the soft music in the background. Even though the receipt was correct, Rosa did not relax. She pushed the paper back across the counter and said the dress was not ready yet. Nia felt confused because her mother had received a message saying it was ready for pickup. Nia politely explained this, but Rosa's tone grew colder. Rosa told her to wait and pointed toward a corner near the mirror. Nia walked there and stood quietly. She waited patiently, her hands folded in front of her. She watched customers come and go. Some were greeted warmly. Some were offered drinks. Some laughed with the staff. Nia noticed how differently she was treated. Minutes felt like hours. Rosa finally came walking toward the back storage room, pretending to look for the dress. While walking past Nia, Rosa looked at a nearby display and noticed a small scarf slightly out of place. Without proof or reason, her eyes went straight back to Nia. Rosa's voice rose sharply as she asked Nia if she had touched anything. Nia's heart jumped in surprise. She shook her head quickly and said no. Her voice trembled as she spoke. She had done nothing wrong. Rosa did not believe her. She accused Nia of trying to steal. The word hit Nia like cold water. Some customers stopped walking. A few turned their heads to watch. Nia's face grew hot with shame as eyes fell on her. Nia tried to explain herself again, but Rosa cut her off. She raised her voice even higher, calling Nia dishonest and warning her not to play tricks. Nia stood frozen, her hands shaking. Tears filled her eyes, but she forced herself not to cry. She had never been treated this way before. One woman in the boutique looked uncomfortable but said nothing. Another customer whispered quietly to someone beside her. The air inside the boutique felt heavy. Rosa suddenly stepped closer to Nia. Her anger had grown wild and uncontrolled. She grabbed Nia's wrist roughly and pulled it forward. Nia cried out in pain as her school bag slipped from her shoulder and fell onto the floor. Nia tried to pull her hand back, frightened and confused. She had done nothing wrong. Her eyes searched the room for help, but most people looked away. Her chest felt tight like she could not breathe properly. Rosa's voice shook with rage as she said she would teach Nia a lesson for trying to fool her shop. Before anyone could react, Rosa raised her hand and struck Nia across the face. The sound echoed loudly through the boutique. Time seemed to stop for a moment. The music continued to play softly as if nothing had happened, but the heart of the room had changed. Nia stumbled back from the sudden shock. Her cheek burned with pain. Her vision blurred as tears finally spilled from her eyes. The boutique fell silent. Some customers gasped. One woman covered her mouth in shock. Another shook her head slowly in disbelief. No one had expected the situation to turn so violent so quickly. Nia stood frozen, her hand pressed to her face. Her body trembled. Her mind struggled to understand what had just happened. She felt humiliation, pain, fear, and confusion all at once. The warm lights above now felt cold and harsh. Rosa stood breathing heavily. For a brief moment, her eyes showed confusion, as if she herself could not believe what she had done. But pride quickly replaced that doubt. She straightened her posture and told Nia to leave immediately. Nia bent down slowly and picked up her bag with shaking hands. She did not argue. She did not cry loudly. She simply turned and walked toward the door with slow, unsteady steps. As she stepped outside into the evening air, she broke down. She leaned against the wall and cried quietly, her whole body shaking. People passed by on the street without knowing what had just happened inside. Cars moved. Lights flashed. The world kept going as if nothing had changed, but for Nia, everything felt broken. She took out her phone with trembling fingers. Her screen blurred through her tears. She called her father. Her father, Sam, answered on the second ring. He was a tall, quiet man who worked hard every day and never missed a promise to his daughter. The moment he heard Nia's broken voice, his heart tightened. Nia tried to speak, but her words came out between sobs. She told him where she was. She told him what happened. She told him someone in the boutique had hurt her. Sam listened without interrupting. His jaw tightened as his hands slowly curled into fists. His calm face darkened with concern and controlled anger. He told Nia to stay where she was and not to move. Sam hung up and stood still for a moment. His home office was quiet, but his mind was loud. He took a deep breath, placed on his jacket, and walked out the door with steady steps. Inside the boutique, Rosa had already returned behind the counter. She told herself she had done the right thing. She told herself she had protected her shop. Still, a strange unease settled in her chest that would not leave. Outside on the sidewalk, Nia waited alone. Her face still burned. Her heart still ached. But deep inside, she trusted her father. And Sam was already on his way. Nia stood outside the boutique with her back against the cool glass wall. The noise of the street moved around her like a river. Cars passed. People walked by. No one knew what had just happened inside. Her face still burned from pain and shame. Her hands trembled as she held her phone close to her chest. She trusted only one thing now. Her father was coming. Inside the boutique, Rosa tried to return to her normal work. She adjusted folded clothes and spoke to customers with forced politeness. Her heart beat fast beneath her calm mask. Deep inside, a strange fear had begun to grow. She told herself it was nothing. She told herself she had authority in this place. She told herself rules were on her side. 10 minutes passed. Then a black car stopped in front of the boutique. Sam stepped out. He was a tall, powerful man with wide shoulders and calm eyes. His steps were slow and steady. He wore simple clothes, but his presence alone made people notice him. The air around him felt heavy and focused. When he saw Nia standing against the wall with tears still on her face, his heart broke quietly. He walked to her and kneeled so his eyes were level with hers. He touched her cheek gently where the pain still rested. His hand was large but gentle. Nia whispered everything again. Her voice was soft now. Sam listened without breaking eye contact. His jaw tightened. His breath slowed. He stood up slowly. Nia held his hand as they walked back into the boutique together. The bell above the door rang softly as they entered. Rosa looked up from the counter. Her eyes first met Sam's chest, then his face. Something about his calm power made her pause for a second. But then her pride pushed her forward again. Rosa asked coldly what they wanted. Sam spoke in a quiet, steady voice. He said his daughter had been harmed here. The words were simple but heavy with meaning. Rosa crossed her arms. She denied everything at once. She said the girl had caused trouble. She said the girl had tried to steal. She said she had only done her duty. Nia stood a step behind her father. Her fingers gripped his hand tightly. Her eyes stayed low, but her heart beat strong now. Sam did not raise his voice. He did not show anger. He only asked one question. He asked if there was proof. Rosa hesitated for half a second. Then she pointed toward the cameras above the ceiling. She said everything was recorded. Sam nodded once. He asked to see the recording. Rosa laughed lightly and said only staff could access that room. Sam smiled softly for the first time. He pointed toward the customers watching quietly. He said any person here could watch if the truth mattered. A quiet tension spread through the boutique. All eyes slowly turned toward Rosa. One customer spoke up. She said she wanted to see the truth. Another customer nodded. Soon several people agreed. Rosa felt the control slipping from her hands. Still, she walked toward the back room with stiff steps. Sam and Nia followed her. Inside the narrow room, screens glowed against the dark walls. Rosa played the footage with shaking hands. The video showed everything clearly. Nia walking in with calm steps. Nia handing over the receipt. Nia standing patiently in the corner. Rosa watching with doubt. Rosa pointing at the scarf. Rosa accusing. Rosa grabbing Nia. Rosa striking her. The room went silent. Every eye remained on the screen. Rosa's face turned pale. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Her story had fallen apart completely. Sam did not speak at first. He only stood still as the truth played out in front of everyone. Then he turned to Rosa. He said she had made a serious mistake. The customers began to whisper. Their faces showed anger, shame, and shock. One woman shook her head and said what happened was wrong. Another said she would never return to this place. Rosa tried to defend herself with weak excuses. She said she felt threatened. She said she misunderstood. Her words sounded empty now. Sam stepped forward slowly. He told her that power without fairness destroys people. He told her that pride without kindness makes enemies. His voice was calm but carried strong weight. The boutique owner arrived moments later after one staff member had quietly called him when the situation grew tense. The owner was an older man with tired eyes. He listened carefully as customers explained what had happened. He watched the video himself. The owner closed his eyes slowly. Then he turned to Rosa and told her she was no longer welcome in his business. Rosa's world collapsed in that moment. Her face twisted with shock. Her posture broke. She begged for another chance. The owner shook his head once and called security. Rosa was escorted out through the same door where she once ruled with control. Nia watched silently as the person who hurt her walked away from the place she once controlled. Her pain was still there, but a sense of safety had returned slowly. The owner walked to Nia and knelt in front of her. He apologized sincerely. He said the boutique failed her trust. He promised to fully fix the dress at no cost. He promised that the staff would be trained better. Nia nodded quietly. Sam placed a gentle hand on the owner's shoulder and thanked him for choosing truth. As Nia and Sam walked back outside, the streetlights had grown brighter. The evening air felt lighter. Nia looked up at her father and asked softly why he stayed so calm. Sam smiled gently. He told her that real strength does not always need loud anger. He said strength can walk quietly and still change everything. That night at home, Nia sat quietly in her room. She touched her cheek carefully where the pain had once been. The red mark had faded, but the memory stayed. Still, she felt stronger than before. On the news the next day, the boutique incident spread across the city. Many people spoke about fairness, respect, and responsibility. Rosa became a clear example of what not to become. But there was something still unknown to the public. People saw Sam only as a father. They did not yet know who he truly was. And soon, the whole city would learn why his calm carried so much power. The morning sun rose slowly over the city, lighting the streets with soft golden light. Nia woke up early that day. She sat quietly on the edge of her bed, holding a warm cup of tea in both hands. Her cheek no longer hurt, but the memory of that moment inside the boutique still lived in her heart. Sam stood at the doorway watching his daughter. He saw that she was stronger now, but he also knew that pain does not disappear in one night. It takes time to heal. He walked into the room and sat beside her. Nia looked up at her father and smiled softly. She said she felt better today. Sam smiled back and told her that healing begins when truth is seen and accepted. He told her that she did nothing wrong and that the world had seen that clearly. That same morning, the story from the boutique continued to spread across the city. People shared the video online. On phones and computers, the truth played again and again. Many were shocked. Many were angry. Many spoke about the need for kindness and fairness. Reporters gathered outside the boutique. Cameras pointed toward the door. Questions filled the air. The owner stood outside and spoke openly about what had happened. He said the boutique would change its rules. He said the staff would go through training. He said no one should ever feel small inside his store again. Inside their home, Sam watched part of the news quietly. He turned off the screen and looked at Nia. He told her that attention can be loud and confusing. He reminded her that her peace was more important than public noise. Later that day, Nia returned to school. As she walked through the gates, she felt nervous at first. She wondered if people would whisper. She wondered if they would stare. At first, she walked alone. Then one classmate stopped beside her. She smiled and said she was glad Nia was okay. Another girl joined them. Then, another. Soon, Nia was surrounded by quiet support. Not loud praise. Just gentle kindness. In class, the teacher welcomed everyone calmly. She did not talk about the incident. She simply taught the lesson as usual. But when she looked at Nia, her eyes showed care and respect. During lunch, Nia sat under a tree in the schoolyard. Her food lay untouched for a moment as she watched the leaves move in the breeze. A boy from her class sat nearby and offered her a snack with a shy smile. Nia thanked him softly. She felt seen without being judged. While Nia moved through her school day, Sam went to a quiet hall on the other side of the city. The hall was used for community events, sports meetings, and youth programs. Many people waited inside. Sam walked into the hall with calm steps. Some people looked at him with curiosity. Some recognized him from the news and whispered quietly. A few looked surprised. The community leader stepped forward and welcomed him. He asked Sam to speak. Sam stood at the front of the room. His voice was calm and steady. He spoke about respect. He spoke about control. He spoke about how power should never be used to harm but to protect. He spoke about children who walk into the world with innocent hearts and the duty adults have to protect that innocence. People listened closely. Then the community leader shared something the public did not yet fully know. He spoke about Sam's past. He told them that Sam was not only a father and a working man. He was also a former national sports champion. In his younger years, Sam had stood on the biggest stages. He had carried the flag of his country with pride. His name had once filled stadiums. His strength had once inspired millions. Sam never spoke about it because his journey had changed. After years of success, he chose to live quietly and raise his daughter with simple values. He chose peace over noise. He chose family over fame. The room fell silent. People looked at Sam with new eyes now. Not because he was famous, but because he had walked away from all that power and still used his strength for kindness. Sam stepped forward and said that titles mean nothing if hearts are empty. He said he did not return to public life for fame. He returned to speak because his daughter had been hurt and many other children might face the same pain in silence. His words touched many hearts. Back at school, Nia stood at the gate waiting for her father. When Sam arrived, she ran to him and hugged him tightly. The weight she had been carrying for days melted in that moment. They walked home together slowly. That evening, the boutique owner came to their home with a small paper bag. Inside it was the fixed dress. It was clean and perfect now. He handed it to Nia with sincere apology. He thanked Sam for showing him the truth. Nia accepted the dress. But more importantly, she accepted the apology. A few days later, Rosa sat alone in a small rented room across the city. The noise of her old life was gone. The mirrors, the lights, the soft music, all gone. Only silence remained. She watched the news clip again where the truth had changed everything. For the first time, she saw herself clearly. Not as a manager. Not as a ruler. But as a person who had failed deeply. Tears filled her eyes. Not because she lost her job, but because she finally understood the cost of her actions. Weeks passed. The city grew quiet again. Nia's mother wore the dress on the day of the special event. She looked beautiful. Not because of the fabric, but because her family stood beside her with pride. Nia stood among the guests, smiling easily now. Her eyes no longer carried fear. They carried calm strength. Sam watched his daughter laugh and talk with confidence. His heart felt full. Late that night, Nia sat beside her father on the balcony. The sky was clear and filled with stars. She asked him if everyone in the world learns their lesson the same way. Sam thought for a moment. Then he said lessons come in many forms. Some come softly. Some come loud. But they only work if hearts are open. Nia rested her head on his arm. She said she felt stronger now. Sam smiled. And in that quiet moment, under the wide open sky, the truth stood clear. Real power does not come from control. It comes from fairness. It comes from calm strength. It comes from choosing kindness even when the world is unkind.